owners that networking and getting out there, being out in the community, being seen, and the relationship building, that networking component, whatever that means, right, is something that we always feel like we should be doing more of, but it takes a lot of time, and so, and sometimes we really don't enjoy it. So last session, I gave a tip. I have a top 10 networking tips for business owners who don't have time to waste. And also, we're talking about how to make networking type activities more fun and more effective. Everything we do in business really, needs to be an effective use of our time and fun. I mean, the stuff that we do intentionally, for sure. So my networking tips for you today. By the way, direct message me if you want to get the download with the 10 tips. So today we've got 2 quick tips and a formula that blew my mind when I heard it, and I'm really excited to share it with you. So today's 2 tips, and then I'm going to give you the formula. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Say hello. Hey, thanks for joining in. Okay. Don't view networking time as selling time. It's just, they're 2 separate things, which is crazy because we think it's all relationship building, right? It's all pipeline feeding, right? So we're tempted to think of networking as related to selling. And, got some sort of app closing there. Okay. Always some technical challenges, I tell you. And so I'm going to give you a formula that, like I said, really blew my mind. So one of the other tips that I really want you to think about is to pick the networking events that you are going to actually enjoy. So don't go to the stuff that you're going to dread, that is going to feel like a waste of your time or just way too uncomfortable, or, maybe there are aspects that you don't like. So if you're not a drinker, maybe don't go to the happy hour ones. Try the coffee and contacts variety or the luncheon speakers. But another thing that you can do to make networking more fun and effective is bring someone with you. So you could have the buddy system in networking. So it's like the wingman, wingwoman in dating, perhaps. So you want to pick the events that you might actually enjoy, and obviously to go into something that's a little bit uncomfortable with that open spirit of, hey, I might meet somebody really cool, I might meet my next client, I might meet my new best friend, I might meet a resource for someone else that I really care about. So all of these I'm going to be talking more about in future sessions, but for now, pick a buddy if you don't like going to something by yourself. And there are a couple of reasons that this is amazing. Especially if it's somebody that's on your team or somebody that you know really well. It's really fun to be able to highlight their great work instead of like, hey, here I am, this is what I do. If you're not overly comfortable promoting yourself or at least breaking into the conversation, going with a buddy makes it a lot easier. One or both of you can talk about the other person in the highlights. Hey, have you met so-and-so? She's so great at her job. I'm really glad I got a chance to meet her. It's nice to be able to talk about somebody else and give them compliments. And for many of us, it's a lot easier to do that than to sing our own praises. So, so speaking of which, there's a lot of confusion between networking time, marketing activities, and sales activities. So we have networking, marketing, selling, relationship building. All of these sort of get jumbled together when, as business owners, especially when we're starting out, if we're solopreneurs, it's very, very easy to do the marketing activities, which are the ones where you're sitting in your office by yourself at your computer. It's so easy to go overboard and nitpick and perfectionist all over that stuff and not get your ass out of the office. Hey, right on. Not get your ass out of the office to the networking events, not be doing the invitations to meet with people. And then obviously, if we're not meeting more people, we're not connecting with more people, then it's hard to have more sales conversations. It's hard to actually ask for the sale if we're not increasing the size of our network. So this formula that I want to share with you today is like I said, it just totally blew my mind. It's amazing. I went to one of my very first chamber events as a brand new business owner. I think I stayed up practically all night the night before making my own business cards because I didn't have any yet. And the event was something I signed up for kind of last minute. Oh my God, you remember those tear-off business cards? They were somewhat hideous, but I felt like I couldn't show up without business cards. Oh yes, that's a little teaser for something to come in a couple sessions. Anyway, so I saw this amazing speaker, and the biggest takeaway I had from that day was this formula. So, for every 1 hour of marketing-related activities, we spend 3 hours of networking activities, and for every 1 hour of networking activities, we spend 3 hours of sales activities. So, holy crap, if you just did the math, that's 1 hour of marketing, 3 hours of networking, and 9 hours of sales. So let's say that's per week, or you can do the math. And I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. Most of us, and I will say this is true for a lot of my clients when we start working together, and I even get a little bit sucked into the old conditioning, most of us have this completely backwards. So if you are guilty of maybe 9 hours of marketing related stuff and 1 hour of selling and maybe even 0 networking, then let's talk about how we can fix that. So I want to spend a little bit of time on what each one is. So networking, I got some notes here for you. Networking is the meeting people, the seeking connections, learning about others, looking for opportunities to either put them in your sales pipeline and keep the follow-up, move them through your funnels, that's later. So you're seeking connections to people who can be of value to you, whether it's business or not. You're seeking connections to people where you could be of value to them, whether it's business or not. And this includes making introductions. So this is asking for introductions to people we want to meet. This is making introductions for other people. This is the human interaction, which may or may not be business related. We never really know the value of a relationship until way later, right? So I've met some amazing people through networking type events where business didn't come from it, or it didn't come until 8 years later, or whatever. So you can't really make a direct correlation between networking activities and sales revenue. So the selling activities are the things that directly equal business money. So that's deliberate sales conversations. Nikki, if you're out there, we talked about this so many times. Tracking your progress. So all those tracking tasks, knowing your numbers, how many calls does it take to make? So that's another thing. Making sales calls, following up to those meetings, making proposals, sealing the deal, negotiating the pieces of the contract, especially if you're in service. And let's see, setting appointments to learn about someone's current issues, checking for fit if they're actually a prospect or a new client or customer. Those are the sales activities. Marketing is all those things, like I said, you're sitting in your office by yourself at your computer, or maybe you have a marketing team, which is great. But this is market research, but it is positioning. More than anything else, it's positioning, and it's producing those materials or social media posts that are informative to the people that you want to meet. So 1 hour of marketing, 3 hours of networking, 9 hours of sales. That's the formula that you want to be operating with. And if you're just having like a holy wow moment, raise your hand, say, oh my gosh, I've been doing this backwards, or I know exactly what you mean. I see people doing this. All right, so quick recap, keep this short today. And I don't know how long we've been on. I don't have a timer. I'm gonna have to fix that in the future. All right, so tip, don't view networking as selling time. They are separate things. Maybe use the buddy system so that you'll enjoy networking more. You can highlight someone else's amazing business accomplishments, or you can talk about their business and introduce them to people a little bit easier. And it's all reciprocated. When you're out with somebody else. Pick those networking events that you're going to enjoy. So my challenge for you this week, take a look at your marketing, networking, and sales activities ratio. schedule yourself in a networking type activity and invite a buddy. All right, that's it for now.